Hi James, some great work during your sessions and your recent visit back to the UK. Just a quick recap on the final session, just to put things together, if you will, just a tidying up process. Discussed quite a few things, particularly in regards to you when you're out playing a golf course, what to expect, how to sort of judge what's going on by the flight of the ball, etc. Things to consider. The mechanics of it, we still wanted to tidy up this element of a lift. Overall, the direction of the swing now is much more under control. With that sort of move, you're certainly going to pull and cut most of your shots. There's no big block and quick hook in there. But what we do want to do is try and reduce the chaos a little bit. I really like you at this point in the swing, and then for reasons we discussed during your visits, there tends to be very little happening with the body. The arms lift, and the problem we've got there now is that if we come straight back down that angle, we're going to be, as we see in this footage, very shifted to the left, club going through the right shoulder, tumbling onto the left arm, getting out in front of the hands, and then coming across the golf ball. And that's fine as long as we don't want to hit anything other than a sort of pull and a cut from there. That's fine, I haven't got an issue with it. As a drill, it's served a purpose, or as a feel, it's served a purpose. It's got you away from the habit that you used to have of dropping the club too much on the inside. Having said that, a lot of players who lift also then want to drop the club in further in transition to obviously prevent hitting the pull or the cut. So we've got a situation where we can potentially get stuck between the two. And what was happening with yourself is you'd be running one pattern nicely, and then suddenly, a random shot just when you don't want it comes in a tournament, and if you're running a little fade all day, and then suddenly you hook one or push one, it doesn't really fit in with the type of pattern you're running, and vice versa, little draws and then suddenly a big pull kicking in there. So we want to try and reduce that tendency that you have to get the random shot in there and really start to tighten the shot cone up. The first change we made related to your shoulder alignment. Something that historically you've done in the past is you've had your shoulders fractionally open. And what we've asked you to do here on the right is just feel like you're going to squeeze the underside of the right arm against the torso. When you apply a little bit of pressure under the underside of the right arm against the torso, you can see that it just realigns the chest and the shoulders and brings everything in a little bit more during your swing. So that was change number one. The next thing we did was we placed the alignment cane under the right arm. This is going to encourage you to keep the squeeze on pressure point 5, right arm against the chest. And also the bit of the cane that's sticking out here is going to discourage the lifting of the arms. So historically, again, as we go back, club rolls in a little bit. We discussed that. Not really worried about that at this moment in time. From here now, from P3 to P4, there tends to be a lift, and we lose pressure under the right arm. From there, we either come down the red arrow, pulls and cuts, or potentially could get it dropping underplane on the green arrow, and that's going to throw the odd block in there. So and that's definitely what we don't want to get going. So with the cane in place, the task is to swing back, keeping the pressure on the cane. Beg your pardon, start again on this one. Swing back, keeping the pressure on the cane. You've got the squeeze on the underside of the right arm to keep the shoulders square. As you do this, the tendency then is to get the club into a much better position at the top. Far less lifting, much more compact, far less across the line. Left wrist also started to flatten out, so a lot of good things going on at that point. As we've seen before, the one on the left, shaft comes through the right shoulder. Now with the club in a different position, the shaft now is encroaching more onto the mid-right bicep area. You can see the club head just shallowing out nicely. The club then doesn't get pulled out onto the left arm as fast, and he's far less out in front of the hands at P6. That movement that you're making on the right now is really, really good for just hitting a little cut pattern down there. Much less flex going in the lower body than we've had in the past. Right arm not running out as fast. Remember we discussed the corner turning at the bottom. There's no corner to turn now at the bottom. On the right hand side, you just got to keep hold of the golf club, and you're going to hit that nice little inline shot. With the irons, you're hitting down on it enough to zero out the plane. With a driver, because you're hitting up on it a little bit more, and because of your tendency to work the left shoulder up quite a lot through the hit, you're better suited at the moment just hitting that little push fade down there. As we saw on Flight Scope, your tendency is to have the path, ever so slightly left with driver, and the club face ever so slightly to the right. So you're very good at hitting a shot that starts in a certain direction and just drifts to the right ever so slightly. You can work to change that, but at this moment in time, you've enough to go at, and I'd like to see you sort of just embrace that pattern a little bit more and just go along with it rather than continuously battling your tendencies. I really like the P4 that you're getting. I think the top of the backswing on this one on the right is leaps and bounds ahead of where you were when we first met. You expand the right arm much more. Your head doesn't drop back anywhere near as much. There's a lot of really good things going on in the swing, and it's time to just let those bed in now over a period of a few months while you get back in the States, get some warm weather and get some practice. Plenty of work on the cane. Cane under the right arm is an essential bit of kit when you practice. Excuse me. Keep hitting the breaks, keep hitting ball shots with the ball well back in the stance to learn the extension piece. Keep firing the footage across. Look forward to talking with you on Twitter, Facebook, etc. And more importantly, look forward to watching this swing really bed in over the coming weeks and months. Good luck.